Hare Krishna. We would like to welcome you to day 2 of our Basics of Deity Dressing workshop. I would like to welcome each one of you and thank you for participating yesterday. And again, I would like to thank the Golden Eco Village team and the Hare Krishna TV for providing us this platform to share some knowledge with all of you. So we'll begin our session for today. And begin with, I'll first address the questions that were left by the devotees yesterday in the chat section. So one of the questions is, so because I'm demonstrating it on a deity, on a diorama of Lord Krishna, how to do it on Gaur Nitai. The same principles apply on Gaur Nitai as well. So some of you may have Gaur Nitai deity which is dancing, or some of you would have it straight. So just see how you apply this principle. The way you dress them, you can, in a similar way you can dress them. There is not much difference. Then somebody asked why I mentioned that we cannot go behind deities. Because I don't know, at least in our altar there is no space that we can go behind. And actually you can go behind if you have home, small deities, you can go behind rather than moving the deity, because we are subservient to them, we are serving them, so we can move around. But we should not move the deity or turn it or for our convenience. But in temple we have space restrictions, so that's why. Then somebody asked about which pins. So I'll post a picture, or we'll send it on the group, the WhatsApp group. These are some of the pins. Maybe I can show it in the camera. And I don't know if some of these are available, I know, only in Bombay, in a market called Bhuleshwar, in a street called Tisra Boiwada, on shops name as Rekha Art and Rajasthan Store. But some of the good pins, we ask devotees to get them from UK or US, like these very small pins somebody got from me from US, and these pins also one devotee got them for us from UK. So these were about the pins. If the deities are small, then how do we apply these principles? So these principles actually work. When I did my training in Mayapur Academy in 2016, and I started dressing in 18, and I used to dress our Utsav deities, and it is possible to apply these principles to tie a sash. Only the cloth we use should be of the appropriate size. Then it is able to do, and you should have the small pins. Then you can do. And somebody asked, can we post pictures for accessories? We'll post it on the WhatsApp group, that how we can, for the Gopal, they can use. So I think the same accessories, or you can make them yourself, something you want to make, like these hangings which we saw yesterday were quite big for, say, if you have small Gopalji, but you can make smaller version of them. It is very easy. Probably in coming sessions I can show that. Which material is being used? So there are different fabrics. Many of them have run out of fashion, but as I go to market, but some of them are always available, like silk, raw silk. I think depending on the city and area, they have different names. This fabric is a synthetic fabric. You can go a shiny, silk-like, feel-like fabric. This is raw silk. This is satin. So these are different fabrics. As you go to the market, you can yourself see, once if you dress, you can make out which fabric can be used for what purpose. For making puffs like this fabric, this is called glass tissue, or in Gujarat they call it LCD. But now this is not available so much. There was around 3 years back, there was a lot of fashion of this fabric. So that time we procured it. So that was one. And somebody asked, can we get this video? So this video is available online. It's so you can always access it. So we'll move ahead with our session for today. So we'll learn a basic turban, and we'll learn how we apply the principles we learned yesterday of balance, proportion, unity and harmony. And then we'll move on to the other four, which is movement, rhythm, emphasis and variety. So before that, first thing we'll do is that we will learn to put a base, how to put a base cloth, because that's the first thing, and then I'll demonstrate how do we put pins. So that is also important. And then we'll move ahead with, I'll show you which style, we'll show the picture and then we will practice. It'll be a little challenging because it's difficult to show it on camera, so please bear with us, because we'll move the camera closer so that you can see it clearly. Okay, so I have this cloth. So the best choice for a base cloth is a cotton cloth, because it has good grip. Now some temples, they have a cap like which fits directly over the wig. Some temples even have a protection which protects the deity. They have a cap which is made of some tougher material, so that the pins do not prick the deity. So it's very careful. And now, so I've first placed the wig. And then I'll move their hair a little bit behind the ears. And then I have. So would you like to take the camera this side? So now, so first we are tying a base cloth. So it should be firm and tight, because the whole turban okay, now I think it's better visible now. So now I'll place this cloth and we'll try to place it around the area of the neck where Krishna's neck is there in the hair, like this. And then so it's quite tight. I'll move it a little above the eyebrows. Then I'll take a pin. So there is some more cloth remaining. It's your choice if you want to cover some more part of the head or you want to leave it behind. So again, as I showed, that the pin should move away from the deity, and then so our base is tied. So on that, so if it is firm, it's not loose, then we can tie a good turban. So before we move ahead, so we would like to show that picture of which turban style we are going to learn today. The picture. the other one. So these are the two, 1 and 2. So first I'm going to show you this. So you can see this so very beautifully one devotee has dressed, and he's used the fabric. The pink fabric is satin, and the fabric behind is glass tissue. He just used two colors because the dress was in two colors, pink and white. So he used these two colors, and so the colors were balanced and is made very nice puff, and all the other elements that we discussed yesterday are also present in this. So I'll also choose these fabrics, the satin and I'll take some another color. And so before that, I'll like to show how we put pins. So I would like the camera to move here. So I'm demonstrating. So now you can visualize this as the base of the turban, and here I'm showing. So here, for example, this is my fabric. So I'm pleating it with my fingers. And I'm placing it here where, for example, I have to put this at the end. I'm taking the pin. Now the pin first has to go into the base cloth. Then it has to go over this cloth and again into the base, and then it has to come out. You can see? And then again I'll pleat. The more you'll pleat, now it's your choice. You want to keep the puff so close, or you want to keep it like this. For example, I'm keeping it like this. So again, so now see, for example, this, we have to put the pin very close to the cloth here, over, and then again close and out. Now, suppose you just pleat it. That's how when we don't know, I put a pin and I put it like very far into the base cloth. So now this cloth, after putting the pin, it expands. It takes its natural volume or area that required, and little pressure and the pin can come out. So it is, and the puff will also lose its shape. But because see, it's very placed close here, as the cloth is trying to take its normal space, it is putting pressure on both sides, and that's why it says locked. So now similarly here, so again, we are going to put these, so this is what we are going to do on the turban. One more, or you can, or I'll show how some devotees like to put it like a little far. So when you place these far, then you'll have to put something in between them. For example, say, so I'll have to add some flowers. For example, here the pin is not visible, you may not have to, but here I will have to. And that will make it look. So I've placed these flowers here. So here these wires are visible, but in the turban these wires will not be visible because they'll be behind. And say one more I put here. Can I have, okay, so here I have some real flowers also. So for example, I'll put, it's not visible, so I'll take, so imagine this front side of the turban and it is visible. So in flowers, sometimes you don't have to pin them, they just stay between these puffs because they're very dense. If you want to pin them, you can again take a pin over the flower into that, into the cloth, and it'll stay. Or one of the ideas is to, before you want to put, say for example, you want to put the flower at the end of the turban. So what you can do, you can take a pin, insert into the flower stem, and then just it will stay because it doesn't have much weight. Okay. So now we'll go back to our turban. So we prefer to tie a base cloth which is of the same color as the, so that after tie the turban the base color is not visible. So I have a same color cloth also. So I could have used this, but because we're just demonstrating, I will stay with this, and now we'll start. So I'll first use this. I'll first use this satin cloth, and in contrast to it, I will use this color. So like in that picture you saw, so here I am taking the pin from the base over the cloth back into the turban. Then again I am pleating the cloth. So if you, because the pin head will be visible, so you may prefer to put pins from the back side also. And then again, so you have to choose the puffs according to the size of the deity, their face. Then again I'll pleat it. Now at the end, you may choose to make a fan, for example, at the end. So this is, so when we make a fan with the ends, so we may choose to call it, say for, we call it the, so we can choose make fan with the ends, but also in the center, for example here. So I'm holding it here and pleating it. So you can see, so I'm holding it here far, and then I'll take this end where this is beginning. So this is a little big, so I'll go a little closer. And then I'll pin it here. So now, so if this color stays only on this side, this turban will be like look in two parts. So now I'll take the remaining cloth to the other side and add it here. Now some of you may not be able to handle such big long cloth, so you can make shorter pieces of cloth which you can use on one side, or and then you can use multiple. So now I'll take this cloth, pleat it, pleat its ends, and then I'll place it on this side. So this is how I'm creating a balance, so that this color is not present only on one side in the turban. And then we can add one puff here. Okay, so we have so far used one color. Now I'm going to use another color. So if you remember, we discussed that how if this won't look bad, but then one color may create monotony unless, so we can create some. So I'm using now this another fabric. And then I'm adding it here. And then I'm pleating it. Then again pleating it. Then I can continue this on the other side of the turban. You can see. So this color is here and now it's going this side. And then I can pleat its ends neatly so that the end also looks nice. And then I'll place it like this. So this is our basic structure is ready. So we have these two colors we have used. And now we can add so probably if could have added this before now, maybe I'll add some. So if we want to create, so in terms of color, this is balanced. In terms of size, this is balanced. And it is asymmetrically balanced because not one color is present half one side and another one side, both side is present. So first was balance, then proportion. So with the ratio of the size of the deity, this is proportionate. This is of appropriate size, balance, proportion, unity. So that means at the end when the final turbans that we'll see, and harmony. So for example, for harmony, I may add these to create some feel, these red flowers here. And say some white flowers here. As I was telling you, because the puffs are closed, you may not need to use pins to hold them. Somewhere we may. Like here I may use a pin to hold the flowers. And so now maybe to create some emphasis, for example, if you want the center to be here, I can to give this as like the center feel like it moving from here, everything is originating here. I'm adding this here. And even to give it more emphasis, I can place something more with along with it. So these flowers not only add harmony, but they also create some rhythm in the. So now, for example, I have placed this. I can, to balance this turban piece, I can put one here. And say I can, for example, I can place this here to give the center more emphasis. And since I'm not able to find this pair, I will use another set of turban pieces. So for example, I'll place this here. And then I'll place one on the other side. So we need not place them exactly parallel to each other so it doesn't make it look like a Mickey Mouse ears. And suppose we want to add a little more, we can add a fan behind to give this part more emphasis. For example, this is so big. Now if I place it here, what do you think is going wrong? It is big, the proportion is spoiled, it is becoming too big. So if you have something big and you want to use it, we can add it behind so it adds feel to the turban and adds depth. So whatever is visible is sufficient. So, and if you wish, you can we can add a small piece here to fill the gap. I'll use some tag. So now, do we have, so for example, so we learned the principles of balance. So is this turban balanced? Yeah, so this is color balance, and the movement, there is no cross uh, cutting of lines, and balance proportion is proportionate with the size of the deity. It's not too big, nothing is too big. Balance proportion unity is looking one turban. You may analyze. I have in my limited practice, this is what I see. This is unity, and this is harmonious, and we can have probably more leaves we have access to in our farm. I don't know if how many of you don't have, and um, we can have, so then this is harmonious. Then we look at now the other four principle, which is movement. Now, so I haven't added, but I could have before. There is movement because, like for example, there is puffs. There is movement. There's flowers 1, 2, 3, 4. So your eyes will move from 1, 2, 3, 4. There's movement. There is rhythm also. There is emphasis also, so you can see clearly this is the center of the turban from which everything is originating. So this is going here, this is going here, and this is the center, very prominent. And variety. So we have cloth, we have turban pieces, we have flowers. If you want to add something more, you can add. For example, I have this small fan which I can probably add here and create some more variety. So this will balance this fan because this is one circular thing and there's another circular thing I'm adding here. And you can add, if you have scope, we can add some danglings. So if we have added one, we should balance it by adding it to the other side also. So I'm adding it here. It should look the part of the turban and not something which is just, yeah, so like that. And similarly then, to balance them, we can add some places also. If you have space, we can add them. Here, that will extend the turban also. They may not be visible always, but the little bit visible, that adds depth to the turban. Your turban looks three-dimensional and not two-dimensional. So I forgot to get a peacock feather. So anyway, so then this is complementing for the peacock feather, but we can add then peacock feather wherever it suits, for example, here or here. So this is the first, that picture we showed according to that. Very simple turban made just with puffs. So we have here balance in terms of size, in terms of color. The colors are, so this color is here, this dhoti color is here. Balance, there is proportion, there is unity. Now it's looking one singular turban, and it's asymmetric in nature. If you see, it's not like in the center, but it is skewed towards the right of Krishna. And there is unity, there is harmony, there is movement, there is rhythm, there is emphasis, there is very clear emphasis, and there is variety. There are danglings, flowers, cloth, turban pieces, so many things. So this was one of the turban styles which I wanted to demonstrate. I hope it would have been clear to all of you. Now I'll show quickly the second turban style. I'll quickly unwind this. Second picture, can you show? flowers. Sorry, I'm taking quickly some time because I have only one diorama. So to demonstrate the another style. So once you may not get these. So some of you may be experts. So these are concepts are not for them but they're very helpful for me to begin with, because and after some practice you unconsciously start practicing them and they become a part of your turban and these elements are present. But when you begin, you can use it like you can have after you have dressed, you can take a checklist and see, oh, if there is movement, there is balance, there is proportion, there is unity, there is harmony, all the. So first check the first four principles: balance, proportion, unity, and harmony. Because if these four are missing, the turban will not look good. And then you can move on to the rhythm, movement, emphasis, and variety, because their presence will make the turban look exciting. So these two I'm showing very basic, simple turban, but it's not that, but they're very beautiful. You can see in the dressing, looking so wonderful, gorgeous. Okay, so now, so I'll show this second turban, and this time I'll change the base cloth with another color. So I had this green color cloth. So before pinning the base cloth, you can adjust their hair, because so that when you'll put earrings, Krishna's ears should be visible. If you've tied a base cloth with hair in front, then they'll cover the earrings. So at least this lower lobe should be visible where we are going to stick the earrings. So like this cloth is long enough, I didn't have to even pin it. I just tying a knot. But sometimes knots may open, so it is good to at least put one pin. To keep it firm. We should try that. This is small deity, but we should see that Krishna's forehead is visible, because that will add beauty to the turban. So now we'll see the another. I'll use some other fabric. So the fabric used in that turban was something like this. It already had some design on it. So here I'm using two pieces because it was shorter. That was tied with one single cloth. So I'm pleating the cloth and then tying it to create some movement with the help of that, which is you don't have to put anything else. So I'm pinning it here. And then I'm pleating it. And then covering the one side. The turban. This is very simple. So you see, so one side is this cloth is there. So before I put another cloth, so for example, we can use these borders also to create some movement. So I can use this, or we can use these beads. So I'll take a pin and so I'll take two of these and I'll pin them together. Since its ends are beautiful, I'll use them also in a way that they can also be. Now I'll take another cloth and I'll pleat it to make a fan. And like in that the fan was here. So I'm going to then pleat the cloth. And then tuck it on the other side. Then I'll pleat the ends to make a nice fan. And I'll put it at this side. We can take something brighter. For example, this is too long for this, but you can use something which is visible on this. Then it can go here. So this will also look nice. And this is to create movement. Now here in the center you can either place a turban piece to give emphasis, or, uh, or it could be a smaller one also. Let me find. Okay, so I have. So this will be more. Oh, there, that paper bag. Can you bring? So I have these smaller turban pieces which I'll fit here. You can put one or two, depending how many you want to put. So we want to put the pin from front, we can put the pin from behind. Just as much required to hold the turban piece. Now this is kind of only in one color, so we'll try to make it so we can use these turban pieces. Then I can pleat this side also. And then add a fan here. Now we can add some more details to it, say with the help of so for example, if you want to create some more emphasis on this part, we can add No, this is too big. Or we can add it here behind to balance it. Or we can add some more turban pieces. Like you remember, we remember that if these are curved, we can make it straight. So you can put a turban piece small like this with the help of tag also. Like put some tag, put a pin in it, and just place it wherever you wish to place. It holds and stays. So we can do it like this, and then we can add some more turban pieces. So in that dressing there were many danglings this side. We'll also place just to repeat that. And in between there were flowers. The fan can be better. This cloth is not so stiff. So then we can place some flowers in between to give visibility to the and since this is dark background, the white flowers will give visibility to the I have these, but you can choose some smaller flowers of a turban for this size. The proportion is important. We can add something here. And to balance it, probably so pinning is very important. You can see how if it's not pinned, it will open. So I'm changing this, I'm balancing this with this turban piece. We will be replacing some other flowers. So maybe I can place one here to balance this. And maybe one here. So as I showed you, I'll put the pin, this stem, and then I'll just tuck it here, it stays. So we'll go by our principle, maybe the balance. Yeah, maybe this fan could be a little smaller. But otherwise, color balance, we have good colors. Balance, proportion is not too big, not too small. Unity is looking one turban. It's harmonious. Yeah, it can be more pleasing. We can add more flowers. You can choose two different colors. And there is movement. There is rhythm with flowers. There is variety, and there is emphasis. This section is the center of the turban. It could have, as the turban I showed you, it was little bit more on the right side, but as I was doing it, it came little in the center, so it could be more asymmetric. It can go on one of the sides. So these are the two basic turbans I want to discuss. You can practice them and examine if these principles are present, and maybe in tomorrow we'll discuss some more styles of turban and again see uh, how balance, proportion, unity, harmony, emphasis, all the 8 elements we discussed are present in the turban, and they help us to analyze how the turban can be improved. So again, you can leave your comments or questions in the section, and till then, all the best. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, we'll meet again tomorrow at the same time for the third session of the Basics of Deity Dressing Workshop. Thank you. Good night. Hare Krishna.